2 weeks ago, Tim Sweeney announced that Fortnite Mobile, after years and years of waiting, was finally going to be getting re-released on the Apple App Store in the United States so we could finally play Fortnite on our iPhones and iPads again. A week ago, Fortnite and Epic Games officially submitted the Fortnite mobile app build to Apple to be approved to make sure no funny business was going on. And once that was approved, it would be published to the App Store and we would finally be able to play the game. And 2 days ago, Apple denied the app from being published in the United States. And to top it off, the cherry on top of Fortnite Mobile not coming back is that Epic Games and Apple are beefing in court once again. I don't know. You literally can't make this up. This is the most absurd timeline of events that I think possibly could have come from this. Was 2 weeks ago out of the blue. Tim Sweeney, actually it's almost 3 weeks ago now. Tim Sweeney goes, guys, look, Fortnite Mobile, it's coming back this week. We all go crazy. We all get hyped. We're tweeting every day. We're following every day. And then on Friday of last week, so actually 9 or 10 days ago now, Fortnite tweets, hey, we submitted the app to Apple to be approved and re-released inside the United States on the iOS App Store for iPhones and iPads. We've done it. And a week later, Fortnite tweets this: Apple has blocked our Fortnite submission, so we cannot release to the US App Store or to the Epic Game Store for iOS in the European Union. Now, sadly, Fortnite on iOS will be offline worldwide until Apple unblocks it. So if you're reading that correctly, if you got your thinking cap on, you realize, hey, I understand it's not coming back to the App Store right now in the US, but now I can't even play it in the European Union. Yes, Fortnite as of right now is no longer playable anywhere on any iOS device. A few weeks ago, literally last week, a few days ago, you could play Fortnite on your iOS device if you lived inside of the European Union. But now, because of Tim Sweeney and Epic Games, we can't play it anywhere. I can't even sideload it. I can't even download it. I can't play the game on iOS. It is actually absurd what is going on. So I'm going to try to break it down for you guys today. What's going on? What's happening? It's honestly so confusing to me, someone who's been covering this for the last 4.5 years, that I'm going to try to wrap my head around it and help you wrap your head around it and get some expectations of when you might be able to play Fortnite on iOS. But it's just getting crazy. So yes, the key headline is that Fortnite is not coming back in the United States on the App Store for at least a few weeks. I'll try to give some solid dates a little bit later on in the video based on some of the court case things that are happening. I don't even know if it's court cases. It's just court stuff. They're fighting again. Epic Games and Apple are fighting again in legal battles regarding Fortnite coming back to iOS. Now, to give a little more context to the Fortnite tweet, Tim Sweeney went ahead and followed up with a second tweet shortly after saying Apple is currently blocking Epic Games' Sweden Fortnite notarization despite finding no rule violations, while demanding we revoke our Fortnite submission to the US App Store. We're going back to US courts to argue that Apple is again in violation of the injunction. Now, that might be really confusing, and for people who are neck deep in this, like I am, let me help break it down for you. There's two ways right now in which an app can be downloaded on an iOS device. The first is if you live inside the European Union, then you have access to a special feature called Sideloading, where even if an app isn't on the App Store, meaning it hasn't been approved by Apple, you can still have it downloadable through third-party app stores, which is, this happened around 8 months ago. It was a huge deal. People finally were able to download Fortnite Mobile on iOS, myself included, through sideloading the game through alternative means. It requires, a few more steps. Sometimes you have to even pay money to be able to sideload apps if you don't live inside the European Union. But worst case, the game was downloadable for Fortnite users worldwide, mainly though if you live inside the European Union. Now, he mentioned in this tweet, Tim Sweeney, notarization. This is because when an app gets uploaded to be sideloaded or is allowed to be sideloaded, all Apple has to do is notarize this and basically go, okay, guys, you can sideload this app. People can go download it if they live in the EU. You're good to go. This, to me, I think it's a totally different process than submitting it to the App Store to be approved by Apple to go be on, the App Store to be downloaded, not through sideloading. So that's the first way. The first way is you can sideload an app and it just has to be notarized by Apple to be able to be sideloaded. The second way is of course the more traditional way, is if you go on the App Store, you search up an app, you download it. That's how 99.9% of people get their apps on their iPhones or iPads, is through going to the App Store, downloading an app, and using it that way. But in order to get on the App Store, you as a developer or Epic Games, in this case, you have to take your application, give it to Apple, and they have to approve it. They have to, look through the app, make sure you're not doing anything malicious, In this case, Epic Games isn't. They're just trying to get the game back on the App Store. But those are two separate things. Getting it notarized and getting it approved to be on the App Store seem to be two different processes, and they're being handled differently, because Tim Sweeney was saying that Apple was blocking the notarization of the European version of Fortnite Mobile because they also were blocking the main version from the App Store. So Apple basically said this. It's really confusing. They said that, hey, if you guys basically withdraw your application for the app to go back in the United States, we will then approve the notarization and people can download it and play it inside the European Union. They're basically saying you can't have both. You can either have one or actually none. You can either only have the game in the European Union for the time being, or if you try to have the game in the United States, we're going to block both the United States app from going into the App Store, and we're going to block the notarization of the European Union version of Fortnite Mobile so no one can play. And Tim Sweeney decided that, hey, screw it, no one can play. We're just going to fight this out again, because Tim Sweeney is now arguing that this is a violation of the injunction. Apple is arguing that, hey, the court proceedings aren't totally done. If we check out a tweet from FNM News, who's been a great source of news and information throughout the last few weeks, they tweeted, Epic Games has filed a second motion to enforce the recent non-compliance ruling. Basically, what Apple is doing in all this. Apple has said they will not approve Fortnite Mobile until the appeal court decides whether or not to put a pause on the previous ruling. Now, they replied to the tweet saying, as noted in the court document, the notice date is May 27th, 2025. This means Fortnite will not return before then. The hearing for the appeal court to potentially put a pause on the ruling will be happening at basically the same time. So again, legal mumbo jumbo. You don't care about this, and neither do I. But what does this mean? Basically, Apple is saying, whoa, Epic Games, hold up. We're not going to approve Fortnite in the United States until we hear once and for all from the judge whether or not this ruling is official. Because, of course, a month ago or a few weeks ago, whenever the judge said, hey, Apple, you lost, of course, Apple said, no, we didn't. We're gonna challenge this again. And so they have to wait until the 27th of May to find out from the judge if this ruling is official. If the ruling stands, my understanding is that on May 27th, if the judge says, no, Apple, you guys lost, bro, El Bozo, take the L, then, and maybe then, I'm still not, totally clear on this, I think Apple would need to comply with the court, or else they'd get fined, or someone would go to jail or something. And if they comply with the court at this point in the game, then they should be approving Fortnite to go back on the US App Store, and they should approve the notarization so Fortnite in the EU can go back to being sideloaded and everyone can play Fortnite. There's a lot of steps. There's so many moving parts. There's so many dates. There's so much that doesn't make sense. And there's so much I don't care about, bro. I feel like right now how I did, 4 years ago when Fortnite was officially, getting banned, us Fortnite mobile players, we were just kind of screwed. Like, rather than Tim Sweeney trying to wait it out, at least have Fortnite iOS playable somewhere, he's like, nah, no one can play Fortnite because I basically want it everywhere or nowhere. And I can respect that. I can understand where he's coming from, and I can respect that. But as a Fortnite mobile player, someone who just wants to play the dang game, it's so frustrating. It's whiplash, bro. It's 1 minute, we're so back, the game is back. Everyone go buy an iPad, and then the next moment, we're back in court proceedings waiting for some judge, in some county for between $2 billion, quadrillion dollar companies to fight out this crazy petty lawsuit. It's so petty at this point. It's so ridiculous. It's so absurd. I'm so done with it. I mean, I think you're probably picking up the vibe that I'm just a little over it at this point, because every day, I probably check my Twitter notifications like 30, 40 times a day, because I was hoping that one of these times I would check and Fortnite would have tweeted the game was back. But no, it's been 2 weeks or 3 weeks basically since Tim Sweeney said it was going to be coming back this week. And it's not this week, and it's not next week, and it's not the week after that. And potentially, I don't know, the game just might never be coming back. It could be coming back in 10 days. It could not be coming back. I don't know. The core synopsis of this is I don't know what the heck is going on anymore. I'm so lost in the sauce because on one hand, I feel like in a few weeks, the game could be coming back. But bro, this has happened so many times where we get, dude, the finish line is like, dude, it's like right there. The finish line is right there, but we can't just step our foot over it. We have to go fight and punch someone and try to legal jargon and legal battle the crap out of them, which then delays it by a few months. And then they fight it and they do the 17th Court of Appeals, and they're, they can't find a judge in the United States. They're going to go to a judge in Europe, and then they're going to go to Mars and try to appeal it on Mars so they can keep Epic from winning. It's the most absurd situation, and I'm done with it. So I don't know what's going on. The game isn't coming back for at least a few weeks. I'll keep you guys posted. I really want to play the game. It'd be dope to play the game, but right now, it's literally so hard to make heads or tails of, is the game coming back? I don't know. So someone let me know in the comment section below if you're still waiting, if you're caring, because at some point, we're going to stop caring again. Like, this finally felt like the game was coming back. Bro, I've never seen this much interest and interaction with Fortnite Mobile in the last 4 years. And now, my fear is that since it was coming back and then it's not, it's going to get dragged out. When the game does come back, no one's going to care. It's just going to fade away again into oblivion because this was dragged out so long. But again, I don't know. It's all a big guessing game at this point. I just wanted to keep you guys posted. I feel like that's the least I could do. Try to put some meaning behind all this and give someone out there some information on where the heck Fortnite on iOS is. So gamers, I hope you enjoyed today's video. One day we'll be able to play this game on our phones, but I don't think today is the day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.